In February this year, we had the opportunity to sit down with Lavannya and Manoj from India to share a coffee and listen to their story. They moved to Germany with the Chancenkarte, and in only 4 months, they were able to secure a job and a blue card. In this video, we will share their journey in detail in hopes for it to be an inspiration to you if this is the path you want to choose to move to Germany. We will highlight their exact timeline, their background, experience, and moving process, what worked and moved the needle for them in terms of job search, what did they struggle with, what was the process like to take the Chancenkarte and convert it into a blue card, and other recent success stories. And finally, we will share our honest opinion of what are your chances of actually moving to Germany and finding a job here. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And mine is Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we create English content to empower internationals to settle into life in Germany more smoothly. Okay, so let's start by looking at their timeline. Let's have like a bird overview of what did they do and how did it all go down.
Yes, so we would like to look at the entire timeline, not just from arrival in Germany to job, but also what happened before that, because that's actually the process it takes, right? So Lavannya and Manoj started applying in November 2023 to the job seeker visa that was still in place, so way before the Chancenkarte actually became a thing. And it took them actually 4 months until the VFS, through which they applied in Bangalore, reached out to them and told them they can make an appointment for a visa. It took them another 2 months to actually be able to schedule that appointment. So in March 2024, they were able to look for appointments and they found the appointment at the end of May in 2024. And this is where it becomes spicy because their appointment for the job-seeking visa was so close to the release date of the Chancenkarte that 2 weeks after they actually attended their appointment for their visa, they got a call and asked to increase their blocked amount account and to prolong their health insurance, and that they would be one of the first ones to receive the Chancenkarte. The difference here is job-seeking visa was just for 6 months, Chancenkarte is for 12 months. That's why they had to increase their blocked account amount and also prolong the health insurance.
Another big crucial difference is that with the job seeker visa, unless it says job seeker visa, it's for seeking a job and you cannot work with it, versus with the Chancenkarte, you can have a part-time job as you're searching for a job.
Correct.
By the way, the job seeker visa doesn't exist anymore,
No.
right? Now it's just the Chancenkarte, the one that allows you to move to Germany and search for a job here.
Correct, yeah. And the embassy did that automatically, this switch. So that was actually a very...
Quite smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So between the visa appointment and the actual stamped visa that they received, it was only 20 days. So at the end of July in 2024, they both moved to Germany. They chose Düsseldorf as a base to start their job search. And Lavannya was the first to receive a job offer actually in December of 2024, so 4 months after they had moved to Germany, and started her job in January of 2025 in Berlin.
Yeah, so that means that even though they chose Düsseldorf as their base and they wanted to probably stay in the area, they actually moved to Berlin because that's where the job opportunity was.
Correct, yeah. So in their case, from visa application to actually having that job and hence also the blue card took 13 months.
Wow, that's fantastic. I know a lot of people think 13 months, wow, that's a really long time. But if you really think of the bureaucratic process from moving from one country to the other, like legally, I think it's pretty short. And also 4 months to find a job in Germany, I also think it's pretty short, especially because in Germany, actually a lot of companies have a very long process of hiring people. So in my opinion, I think yours as well, this is a very speedy process and it went super fast. Okay, now that we have a little bit more context of the timeline, let's have a closer look into their background and what kind of job and industry Lavannya found a job in.
Yes, of course, because it is super important to know their background and also understand what your background is to understand your chances. Lavannya has a background in finance and 10 years of experience in it. She also has an MBA in finance. Manoj has 10 years of experience in design and being a creative director for filmmaking, for advertisement for Indian companies, and has a bachelor in design. Also important to know is that both applied to the job-seeking visa, aka Chancenkarte, via their degrees. So both of their degrees have been already fully accredited, like fully comparable to German degrees via the Anabin database. If you don't know what I'm talking about or want more information, we will link in the description below our video on how to get your degrees recognized. And for their moving process, they both used the blocked account and health insurance from Expatrio, which is one of the 3 providers that we compare also in our blocked account video, which you can also find in the video below. And all of that was super smooth for them. They didn't have any hiccups in either process.
Okay, so with all their ducks in order, once they hit Dusseldorf, they hit the ground running and looking and searching for jobs. And at the beginning, Lavannya shared it wasn't very easy. They actually struggled quite a bit to get callbacks and interviews. And then Lavannya changed her strategy, and this is actually what moved the needle for her particular case. She realized that after actually getting a part-time job in Germany, she would get a lot more calls and interview invitations than before. Lavannya used LinkedIn as her primary tool to search for a job in Germany. She says that for finance, it was LinkedIn the one that provided the most job openings, so she also invested in a premium account there, and of course kept her profile up to date. So when she got a part-time job in Germany, she of course put that in her profile. Lavannya shared that having this part-time job, she felt at least, would give employers more confidence in knowing that she was A, already in Germany, and B, ready to work. Now, what type of part-time job did Lavannya find?
Yeah, I find that super, super interesting, her case, because she took a job as a warehouse worker administrator at Flink, which is one of the food delivery services in Germany. So totally not in her field, not in her niche, not in her expertise, but really just any part-time job to also generate more cash for their living, right, in Germany. But most importantly is she didn't shy away from adding that job onto her profile on LinkedIn, even though it had nothing to do with finance, and that she really said this was the single most important thing for her to get more interviews and actually secure a job. Because, and this is something I found super interesting, like you just mentioned, it was the proof to employers, potential employers, that she was in Germany. Because there seems to be a thing, what she said, going on LinkedIn, that a lot of applicants put their position as being in Germany, but they actually aren't. And employers have seen through that little trick and no longer trust in the location one puts on LinkedIn. And they want to see further proof whether you are what you're claiming, like being in Germany, or you're not. And having a job in Germany clearly puts you on the map and physically in the location. So I don't understand this malpractice of claiming you're in Germany when you're not, because latest, if you are in the interview, you kind of like have to, as we say in Germany, let your pants down, kind of like show the truth that you're not, because you are ideally also needing to ask for support in documentation to get your visa. So I don't know where this is coming from, but this is what she stated, and her kind of like jump through that hoop and providing kind of like standing out of the crowd is really with this part-time job.
If you're finding the contents of this video helpful to you, then please consider giving us a like and subscribing to our channel so you never miss our new videos in terms of anything that has to do with moving and settling into life in Germany more smoothly. Okay, now of course not everything was sunshine and rainbows for Lavannya and Manoj. There were things that they struggled with.
Or still struggling with.
Thing number one is actually finding a job in finance in Dusseldorf. Lavannya shared in her journey that she mainly got interviews for companies that were either in Frankfurt or Berlin. Makes sense, Frankfurt is the finance capital of Germany and Berlin is the capital of Germany, so there's way more opportunities as well. This goes back to what
for English-speaking jobs particularly.
Yes, for English-speaking jobs. Yeah. Yes, of course, yeah. This goes back to what we have emphasized a lot in previous videos, and that is to not be married to a specific city and be just so blinded on that region, because it's most likely that opportunities are outside of that area. And at least for your first years, to be willing to move around and go to where the opportunities are and not just stay stuck in a place trying to search for a job and you're never probably going to find the job.
And the second thing that they were and still are struggling with is with Manoj's way on finding a job. And here the differentiating factor is the type of work and experience he has. And this is also what we emphasize in all of our content, is it depends on your skills and the type of work that you are an expert at and how likely you are to find a job in Germany. And Manoj's area of being a creative director for filmmaking and advertising is such a niche area, especially with a portfolio that is filled with, testimonials or examples by or for Indian companies. There is a big mismatch between Indian type of advertisement and the German or European market. And this is, in my opinion, at least, the hurdle that he's struggling to jump to kind of like prove that his skills are also transferable and applicable to the German culture.
I would say that's a key word, like transferable skills, versus for Lavannya in finance, at the end of the day, it's kind of like similar frameworks. You might need to learn new things in terms of the German European market, but transferable skills is super interesting. So we suggested to Manoj actually to go through his profile and trim out maybe some of the projects and add new projects as projects that he's done for himself, where he actually uses all his skills and he showcases that they are transferable to the European German market by actually creating new ideas or projects or a fake advertisement for something here in Germany. It could be the Kölsch beer, it could be something funny, just to showcase that he has the experience and the creativity and the knowledge to be able to transfer his skills to this market. But I would say creative jobs in that sense are also more difficult because maybe there's also more Germans also doing this type of job, and it's just harder to be able to break through the market like that. So at the moment of recording this video, Manoj is still looking for a job, and we asked him if he could be so kind to keep us updated in his job searching process and hopefully to be successful. Because in Berlin, another thing is that, like you already mentioned, there's a lot of English-speaking opportunities. So I'm pretty sure when applying the project that we suggested and not giving up and keep on searching, he will also land a job in Germany. Now let's talk about how the process looked like from switching from the Chancenkarte to the blue card in Germany. Here it's important to point out that the Chancenkarte allows you to move to Germany and look for a job and have a part-time job. We have a whole video about the Chancenkarte, which we will also link in the description below. But however, when you have a full-time job, you do need to swap this visa for a residence permit and a permit that allows you to work full-time. So this swap needs to be done by the Ausländerbehörde or the immigration office, or in case in Berlin, LEA. And it's a process that it's actually doesn't take a long time. And we will explain a little bit more why.
Yes. And this is where a lot of fear has been also communicated, that either companies are not educated and think it takes months, or you yourself think, oh my God, but now it takes me forever until I can start working. And this is actually not true. So let's picture again, in terms of timeline, what steps they took and how long it took for them. So once Lavannya got her job offer, she applied for the EU Blue Card. And she qualified for the Blue Card, so that was her residence permit she applied for directly. At the same time, they also applied for the family reunification residence permit for Manoj. Because remember, he was still on a visa that would run out in time, so he would now become a dependent on her work permit. They applied at the Ausländerbehörde in Düsseldorf, and there is no direct application format for an EU Blue Card. There is only for work permits, which is the
overall arching term.
Thank you, the overall arching category. They had to fill out a contact form, state their case, which again, Blue Card plus a family reunification, they stated, gave all their details, and then waited 4 crucial days to get a response. After 4 days, they received an email detailing all the documents that they had to supply, which were exactly the same that already the website of the Ausländerbehörde in Düsseldorf stated, which they collected, and 2 days later, they submitted them again. And here is a key feature that we've also been stating, and they executed to perfection. Not only did they write a professional, polite email, but also they stated in the email body every single document by name and in the order that they would attach it. And this just makes it such a tiny little detail, but it just makes your application look stellar, and it makes the work of the case officer so much easier. Now, in their case, there was a little Christmas break where the Ausländerbehörde actually went on vacation, so we will take those days out of the timeline because they're unique and don't have anything to do with how long the whole process worked. So 4 days after they submitted the document, they actually received the appointment to attend at the Ausländerbehörde via email as well as via letter. And of course, they had to bring the letter to the appointment, plus all the documents, but actually, they didn't need those because the Ausländerbehörde had already printed them for them. Very proactive here. And the appointment took place in January of 2025, and only 12 days after they had submitted all of their documents. So the entire process from reaching out via the contact form to actually having the appointment at the Ausländerbehörde took only 18 days.
Wow, that's super fast. And also super important to point out is that in this appointment, the officer gave them a letter or a document stating that they have submitted their application to the Blue Card, and already with this paper, they're able to start work. Meaning that's super cool because you don't need to wait for the physical Blue Card to arrive, which might take a few more weeks and maybe sometimes months. But already with this confirmation, she was able to work. And we also know from other internationals that have moved not only to Düsseldorf but Berlin, they have gone through the same process where they get this confirmation on a sheet of paper, and that's the green light that you can start working.
Correct, yeah. And also important to say is that, again, in this appointment, they got the approval both for the Blue Card and the family vacation visa. So they were really processed in parallel. And the physical Blue Card was able to be picked up 2 weeks later only. So the process was super fast and smooth, and she started her work like a month after she got the job offer.
That is super cool. And Lavannya and Manoj are not alone in their journey. We have read and received many messages of other smoothlers, as we like to call people that watch our video and are in our newsletter and everything, for smooth settlers, who have successfully landed a job in Germany. So here's a few other success stories that we can share with you.
So I was on Reddit and actually looking for other success stories with the Chancenkarte just to motivate and inspire. And actually I found a thread where someone was asking exactly the same thing. Has someone, just one single person, been successful? And there was this statement of someone who has been in Germany on the Chancenkarte for 3 months and found a job in tech sales. So again, the field is very important, with only requirement of speaking English. So also no German was necessary. And this person had put in 60 applications, got 3 interviews and 1 job offer. So that, to me, sounds also very smooth. 3 months.
That's super fast.
3 interviews, 1 job offer with only 60 applications.
I think 60 applications is quite a lot.
I agree.
But
I agree.
But the chance, I applied 1,000 times, I think.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the skills.
100.
Okay.
And important here again, what was the work experience was a follow-up question, and this person had 6 years of work experience.
So outside of the Chancenkarte and Reddit threads, we have also personally met people in the last 6 months who have also successfully landed a job in Germany. We have Michelle, who is a music teacher who moved within the last 6 months, that's correctly, as a music teacher in an international school here in Germany. We also met Oleg, a software developer with, I would say, at least 10 years of experience, who applied from outside of Germany and landed a job in Berlin. And we also know another smoother who we don't know her name because she DM'd us on Instagram and the username is very long and weird. However, she DM'd us that after purchasing our German-style CV toolkit, she landed a job within a month and is starting her job in March of 2025. Here is her message where she says, "Thank you for your fantastic German CV toolkit," which if you're interested in this, we will link it in the description box below. "I purchased it in October, and by November, I had interview scheduled with 2 companies." And then she goes to say, "My previous English format CV was getting no interest at all. I start my new job next month with a German company." That is fantastic. With all those examples said, this is our honest opinion of what are your chances to find a job in Germany. And this is a very personal opinion, and maybe it's just based on how we look at life. There's a lot of noise out there scaring people into saying that the German job market is dead. Everything sucks. And although maybe there is some truth to that, there might be an economic recession or crisis going on, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the worst time in economics when we look at the whole history of things. And while some companies are firing and shrinking down, other companies are hiring and are thriving. And what is the difference between these two? We personally believe that the ones that thrive are the ones that adapt and act quickly, versus the ones that are probably dying and shrinking out is just because they have been slow in adapting to the new times. And the same can be applied to us as people. If we want to move forward in this new economy and in this new era, which has a lot of uncertainties for sure, we have to decide which one are we going to be. The ones that stay in fear and don't do anything because we are paralyzed by this fear, or the ones that actually see the opportunities and want to thrive and push forward. Because in Germany, yes, some people are firing, but there's plenty of opportunities to those who want to get those opportunities. And I personally believe this is how I have lived my life, is that while others are paralyzed in fear and waiting for the perfect economy to move to Germany, I have seen that always as my opportunity to actually push through and stand out. Because others are just waiting, right? So this is the perfect chance for you to push forward and to actually take that leap of faith, because it is a leap of faith at the end of the day. But please don't mistake my view and my saying of all this optimistic thing that everyone can find a job in Germany and there's plenty of jobs to go around to, because that's also a lie. It is not true. You do require to step up and level up your skills, to have skills that are transferable to the German job market. And at the end of the day, it's the thing about demand and supply. What skills are the German companies looking for? And can you supply those skills? Because we do need skilled workers. There's a massive need for them. But again, skilled workers, you need to have the right skills. So in summary, Ivan, what does it take to thrive in Germany in 2025 and land a job as an international?
Well, first of all, like you already mentioned, you need to have skills and work experience. Ideally with a degree, but even that is no longer necessary if you come from the area of IT or tech. So any skill with a relevant amount of work experience, I say minimum of 3 years, is what gives you higher chances of getting that job. But most importantly, you also need to have the right attitude and mindset. You need to be willing to get rejections, because if you don't, then you will already flunk out after 1 month. And you need to be determined and really have your eye on the prize and go for it. You, of course, need to have some sort of finances to allow yourself at a certain time without a fixed salary, right? And to even, if you're going with the Chancenkarte, to have that blocked account. And most importantly, you need to know why you even want to put yourself through a struggle, because it is a struggle. It really is a struggle. It is a big chunk of uncertainty. So you need to have the right attitude and mindset for it.
I can speak from experience from myself that this is actually what helped me to thrive through my journey in Germany. And I reached a point in my career where I no longer had the skills that the German market needed. So what did I do? I went out and studied and learned new skills. And now with the whole transition into AI, I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, but AI is killing tons of jobs. Then what you need to do? Go and learn AI, for example, right? So it's this adaptability and this mindset that is crucial to survive, in my opinion, through these times. And we at Simple Germany want to see you thrive. And although we cannot teach you AI per se, not yet anyways, we have prepared a lot of resources to hopefully help you in this transition. If you already know that you're moving to Germany and you have already everything set, then you can go check out our onboarding kit, which is a pre-built list of all the things you need to check off before you move and once you land in Germany, so you don't feel overwhelmed and don't miss anything crucial. If you're looking for a job, you can either go check out our German style toolkit, which is our basic toolkit that will help you pimp up, so to speak, your CV. And if you want to learn even more about the German job market and all the other things about how to handle interviews, the mindset needed, and a lot more, then you can check our course, Get Hired in Germany. Those things you can find also in the description box below. And if you need an extra push and a little bit of motivation on what it takes to move to Germany, you can watch our video about the #1 thing that will help you to make it in Germany, which you can check out here. Until next time, cheers! Journey in detail to be...
So let's go... Cálmate.
She used LinkedIn as her primal... Lavannya used LinkedIn as the very...
And the salary were all qualifications.